guys, it's Jessica from Peace Out Books, and today I'm here with my mid-month wrap-up for November. We are a month and a half until the end of the year, which is crazy to me, but I read 13 books in the beginning of November. I feel like I should have read more, but I've been a little busy, so it's okay. I don't have to have read a ton. Normally I read around 15, so 13 is almost there, and I'm almost at the end of a book, so it could have been 14, but it's fine. It's not a race. I have 13 books to share with you, and they are a mix of normal romances and Christmas romances. So I will go ahead, oh, and I had a DNF, so I'll go ahead and chat with all the books that I've read so far this month. So the first book I read was The Mistletoe Motive by Chloe Leese. I meant to read this last year, but I never got around to it, and then I didn't want to read it in January, so this one I listened to on audio, and it is a adorable Christmas romance that with two people who work at a bookstore together, and they really clash, and the heroine more so says she hates the hero, and the hero just kind of goes along with it, and the heroines work there longer, and the hero, they both have like their strengths. She's more like customer centered and loves recommending books, and he is more like analytical and running the shop, and so the owners, they know, will have to fire one of them because the shop's not doing the best, so they start this competition where whoever sells the most will get to keep their job, and they are also online chatting with people that they really like, and it's like, you've got mail. I don't want to spoil it, but if you know the plot of that book, you know where that's going. I love the whole holiday spirit of this book. I ended up giving it 4 stars. I enjoyed how the hero, like usually with like hate to love, and like the heroine's the one who's like, I really hate you, but it's really just like the hero likes her but doesn't know to show how to like her, so he's kind of mean. That's how this one was, and the heroine is on the autism spectrum, so I really enjoyed her talking about that, and her bosses knowing that, but then having to talk about the hero about that and how she just doesn't understand social cues, which leads into why she always thought he hated her when really he had a crush on her. So I really enjoy this book. It's super sweet for the holiday season. I love a good bookstore romance, so I would definitely recommend this one. Coming to my DNF, a little surprising, but I talked about it a bit on Instagram, and that is Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. This one I read because of TikTok, and it is a skating ice hockey romance. I love the cutting edge movies, but this book was so boring. I saw a review on TikTok where someone said you could literally cut off the first half of the book and it would have been an enjoyable book, which I agree, because I thought a lot of it had to do with the fact that he was going to have to skate partners with her. I was 70% in and they just started getting to that plot point, and so I feel like so much of this was drag out. They were hating each other because he's on the hockey team, she is an Olympic figure skater, and her partner is really mean, but she won't believe anybody that he's a bad guy, which also was annoying, and she doesn't want to date anybody, and he obviously likes her, and so she's the only one pushing him away, saying, we can't date, I don't want to date you, no, even though nothing else was stopping her. And this went on for 70%, and it's a long book. I got really bored really quickly, and I just didn't care anymore. The heroine wasn't likable, the plot conflict was just literally one person's fault, and so I just like did not care about the plot. It went on for way too long, so I DNF'd it. I gave it 2 stars on Goodreads. Nothing about this book made me want to read it, so I stopped, and I would not recommend it to anybody. Moving along though to my 5-star read is What Was Meant to Be by Kiwi Tyler. This is a spicy Godfather, a dad's best friend, second chance romance, forbidden, age gap, every trope I love was in here. She's engaged to someone else. So they had a relationship when she was 18, and he is like her parents' age. Her parents had her pretty young though, so it was like a 20-year age gap. My dogs just came back inside, so sorry if you heard them. They were dating for 2 years secretly, and then he broke her heart and broke it off because he didn't think they could have a future together, and he was moving to Mexico to work as a doctor. And so what happens is 3 years later, he hears she's engaged, and he is like, that's my woman. So he goes back and wants to win her back, and he says, I don't care that you're engaged, you're mine. He has declared war. I want you. So the rest of the book is him trying to win her back, and then obviously if they get back together, they're gonna have to deal with the repercussions of telling her parents because he's their best friend, and there is cheating in here because she is engaged, but I loved it. I loved the angst. It was so angsty. I gave this absolute 5 out of 5 stars. I'm obsessed with it. One of my new favorite QB Tyler books because just the tension and chemistry between them and how just dedicated the hero was to winning her back. I love a pining hero. He was obsessed with her. Give me an obsessive hero. I loved this. You have to read it. Then I read Here With Me by Samantha Young. I listened to this on audio. This one was a little too long. It is a romantic suspense in Scotland, and so the heroine goes to visit her father in Scotland, who has been an absentee dad for her. He is a bodyguard to wealthy people, so she goes to see him, and she is now a photographer. She used to be a police officer, but she was shot, and that really traumatized her, and so she quit her job, and now she's a photographer, and she's visiting her dad, and he works at this like estate for wealthy people, and someone is stalking one of the actors. I believe he's an actor who lives there, and so she's trying to help figure out who it was, because then her dad gets hurt by that person, and it was fine. I just feel like the romance is between her and the actor, and they really butt heads at first. She blames him for her father not being around, and it was okay. It was a little boring. It was definitely dragged out too much, and I didn't really find myself caring at all about the mystery or the romance. I was like intrigued enough to finish, but I just wanted to love them more. I wanted to feel more connected to the characters. I wanted to feel more suspense than it was. It was more so a mystery, and it was just okay. So I gave it 3 stars. I feel like with just okay books, I give 3 stars, and I really want more from them. But finding out like the whodunit wasn't even really that exciting. It kind of felt like it came out of nowhere. So overall, it was okay. Then another just okay book, I read Merry Little Meet Cute by Sarah Simona and Julie Murphy. This one I give 3.5 stars. It is a holiday romance, and it is between 2 people who are acting in a Christmas movie together. One is a washed up boy band singer who's trying to fix his reputation. Another one is an adult film star, and it's really funny because the guy who's running the movie is from the adult film industry, but no one knows that, and half of his staff gets injured, including the main actress, and so he turns to his adult film crew to help out, and it's really fun. I thought it was really intriguing and unique, and I liked the whole setting and how she was really excited to branch out and try actual acting, and the hero had known who she was before because he follows her, and she knew who he was because she had a crush on him, which was super cute, but it did kind of have a lull in the middle, and again, I felt myself wandering. Like, not a lot of books have really just grabbed me and engaged me. I was like, this is fine. It's cute, but I hate saying a book is fine. Like, I don't like saying that because that means I was kind of bored during it, and I did appreciate though how things didn't turn cliche. Like when a secret was revealed, he could have easily resorted to miscommunication, but that didn't happen, which I appreciated. But overall, it was just fine. Like, I liked the characters enough, I liked the romance enough, but nothing made me super obsessed with the story, so I gave it 3.5 stars. Then I did a video reading my anticipated romance releases, so that's when I read the QB Tyler book, and then I did read Better Than Fiction by Alexa Martin, and this was just such a cute, cozy bookstore romance, and I gave it 4 stars. This one, our heroine inherits a bookstore from her grandmother who passes away, and she doesn't like reading, but she is determined to run the store because she knew it was so important to her grandma, and there's a book club there of older ladies, and they invite a male romance author to the store, and they want them to get together, and the male romance author is living in Denver for a while because he is researching a new book, and they're like, you should show him around to the heroine, so she does, and he offers to make her into a book lover by giving her a reading list, and she will show him around. So they go on these little cute dates, and it's just super, super sweet. I was in the mood for something like kind of sweet and cozy and low angst, and that's really what this one was. There was a 3rd act breakup that kind of felt annoying and like definitely used as a plot point, but I just love the whole bookstore setting. I love how he was a romance author. I loved how the book club ladies were trying to get them together. It was just a really sweet romance, and definitely what I was in the mood for. So if you want a sweet and cozy read, pick this one up. Then I listened to the audiobook of Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood. This one is very similar to the first book, which was The Love Hypothesis. So these two hate each other. They've hated each other for years. She knows that he hates her, so that really makes her hate him. And she is a neurologist or a neuroscientist. She works with brains, and he is an engineer, I think. And oh, so she wants to work on a neuroengineering project. So they're working with NASA to build these like helmets, and Miss Lily just walked away. And so she finds out that she ends up having to work with this guy she knows hates her, and she thinks he's sabotaging her, and she's really excited to be in this town though with this project, and it just goes from there. And I gave it 4 stars. It was enjoyable. I wasn't as obsessed with the romance as I was with the Love Hypothesis, but I did appreciate their dynamic. I appreciated how she had misconceptions about him. It kind of felt a little too similar to book 1, but it was still adorable. I love the women in STEM kind of setting we have in here. Lots of science going on, lots of Marie Curie stuff going on in here too. I'm pretty sure that's who it was. We also have a very predictable You've Got Mail kind of plotline going on here as well, but it was really sweet. I really enjoyed it. So again, if you got just a sweet romance that wasn't just okay, it was better than okay, pick this one up. Then for that reading vlog, I did read Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. Talk about emotional, talk about amazing, talk about angsty, second chance romance between a divorced couple. I gave it 5 stars. We have children who are a little older, so the son I believe is like 4th or 5th grade. The daughter's in middle school, and the daughter has a lot of animosity towards the mom. This heavily deals with loss of a child, so definitely know that before reading it, but they went through a loss, and the mom, especially the heroine, had a really hard time dealing with it. She did suffer from depression, and she ended up asking for a divorce, and so the daughter blames her for like ruining their lives. She's very mean to her mom, and so the heroine really has to try to deal with her relationship with her daughter. The son was adorable. I really loved him, and the fact that her ex-husband is now dating, and so that really catapults this plot and shows how the heroine is like, wait, maybe I'm not over you, and so then they have to deal with, are we over each other? Can we give this another shot? How do we communicate that we might want to be with each other? Because there is still intense passion and chemistry between them. The hero has always loved her, and I loved him so much, and I loved how much he was passionately in love with her, but he was trying to move on, trying to respect her. And then there was great discussion about therapy in here as well, because the hero was someone who was like, therapy is stupid, I never want to do it, but he gives it a shot for his son, and it shows really how healing it can be in exploring your own trauma and own life. So this was amazing. 5 stars, highly recommend reading it. Then I read Wolf Gone Wild by Juliet Cross for my members exclusive reading vlog, and I'm giving this 3 stars. I was really bored by this book. I am in a mood where I'm easily bored right now, if you can't tell, with books I'm reading. So this one, I listened to the audio, and the hero is having a problem because he is a werewolf, but his wolf is stuck, and he is cursed, and so he approaches witches and asks them. There was supposed to be this big animosity between witches and werewolves, which I didn't really feel. I didn't really feel like their romance was as forbidden or high stakes as they talked about it being, and then there was like no paranormal in here. She was supposed to help him figure out how to unlock his wolf, and there was barely any magic, any kind of paranormal aspects happening until really the end, and that's when it all just came about, and I was like, I wanted that more throughout the entire book. It felt very dragged on. They just sat around talking a lot, which is one of my least favorite things in a romance novel. I want them to go out and do things and like the plot to move, and instead they just kind of like hung out, and I was like, can we do something though? And I did like that idea of him having his wolf stuck inside of him, and how it was this like separate personality that was very possessive and alpha, which I really enjoyed. But other than that, it was boring. It was okay. I gave it 3 stars. I don't know if I want to continue on. I know my friends have said the later books in the series are their favorites, but I didn't love it. Then I read Even If It Hurts by Sam Mariano for that reading vlog, and this one I gave 3.5 stars. I did not mind the romance. The romance was actually my favorite part. There was just no plot. In this book, we have our heroine who works at this clothing boutique. This girl comes in and says, I want to return the shirt. It's obviously worn, it's stained, it's not even from that shop. So the heroine was like, no. And the girl trying to return it is like a literal psychopath, and she's like, I'm gonna make your life a living hell. You're gonna wish you were never born. And her boyfriend is Dare, and Dare she teams up with and says, you need to make sure this girl learns her lessons. You're gonna seduce her and break her heart and ruin her. And so Dare is intrigued. He's like, sure. I could tell from the start Dare actually really liked the heroine. I think it was Aubrey or Audrey. I can't remember which one it was, but he really liked her from the start and was really intrigued by her. He's a psychopath too though, so he has no right or wrong in his mind. He does bad things to her, but she wants it. And so I liked their relationship and how it developed, how the heroine really questioned what kind of relationship she was in, but nothing happened in the plot. It literally was all focused on their relationship, and I was a little bored by it. So by the end, I was just like, is something gonna happen, or we're just gonna date? And it's literally just them dating. So 3.5 stars. I don't know if Sam Mariano's just like not for me, but I did appreciate how obsessed Dare was with her and the evolution of their relationship. I did enjoy watching that play out and her falling for Dare, knowing he's a bad guy. But overall, it was just okay. Then I read a novella called Snowed In with the Player by Rebecca Genshak. This is a Christmas romance, and it is brother's best friend, new adult college. He's a football player. They get snowed in together. It is Christmas. Our heroine's name is Holly, and her twin sister are going to their parents' cabin to stay for a few days during the holiday break, and they do not expect to find their brother with a bunch of his college friends there, and they end up all staying together. And what happens is her sister and brother and some of their friends go back to their parents' house because he's supposed to be house sitting their other house, but he's in the mountains instead, and so he has to go run an errand. Holly ends up having to stay behind with her brother's best friend, who is her longtime crush, Teddy, and they end up getting snowed in together, and everyone else can't make it back to the mountain, so they spend the night together, and that's when things start heating up between them. This is such a cozy Christmas romance, though. We have Christmas cookie baking, skiing, snowball fights, watching tons of Christmas movies. So many Christmas movie names are dropped, and I was like, I want to watch all of them now. It was so good. I really enjoyed reading this one. I gave it 5 stars. As a novella, things did progress a little quickly, but I had such a fun time and I could not recommend this one enough. Then I read An Alaskan Christmas by Jennifer Snow. I give this one 4 stars. It is just like your quintessential Hallmark romance. So in this one, our heroine's an overworked doctor. She's forced to take a vacation, so she goes back to her hometown, which is a small town in Alaska, and she runs into her best friend's brother, who is a like emergency EMT person who like helps find people on mountains, on the mountain in Alaska, like when they get lost. So I forget what that's called, but he's like the search and rescue person, and so they end up clashing when they first meet, but they spend more time together and things heat up between them. But she's like, I have a job, I can't stay here, this is small town life, and it was so fun. It's nothing like groundbreaking, it's nothing super emotional, but I had so much fun reading it because we do have them trying to fight their feelings and her wanting to go back. It got emotional towards the end, though. I really appreciated the turns it took of her trying to figure out like what she wanted to do, and it was fun. I liked it. She was overworked and she had to figure out like her priorities in life and what she wanted to do, and it's brother's best friend, Christmas romance, like what more could you ask for? And the last one I read was also a 4-star read. It is In the Event of Love by Courtney Kay. This is a sapphic Christmas romance. Again, it is a woman who is overworked, and she is a professional, though. She is a event planner, very, very successful in the city, but she ruins her reputation by hooking up with a guy at a bar, and it comes out that it is actually her client's fiance. Her reputation is in tatters, and her boss says, go home, take a break, and we will regroup after the new year. So the heroine is like, no, but she got an offer at her small town, hometown, to run a Christmas event, and so she's like, I can do this and it'll help our reputation. And so the boss is like, yeah, sure, whatever, just go home and relax. So she ends up going back to her hometown, which she left, and she has a huge crush on Rachel, who was her really close friend in high school, and they left things very awkwardly because they had kissed and then they just never talked to each other again. And so Rachel owns a Christmas tree farm that is struggling, and a big corporation is trying to buy land to build outlets in their small town. So they're building up this big event that's going to happen at Christmas, and we have old feelings coming to light, and then it's like, but she's gonna move back to the big city and the other heroine lives in the small town. Like, how are you gonna make it work? Again, very similar tropes to An Alaskan Christmas, but it was super cute. I gave it 4 stars. Just a very fun, definitely more emotional as well, because they both have to deal with people leaving them constantly, and that's why they act the way they do. But very cute. Another Christmas romance I definitely recommend reading, and I'm happy that I read it. And a very good audiobook too. I'd recommend the audiobook. And those are all the books that I read in the month of November so far. Let me know if you've read any of these and what your thoughts are and what your favorite read of the month is so far. I would love to hear. As always, thank you so much for watching and have a good day. Bye.